Hello, welcome everybody. My name's Helen Johnson. I'm MD of the buy side of SMG, so-called Capture, and today I'm delighted to share this amazing stage with Aslı Özen Turhan, who's the CMO of Pladis. And as Sean said, we're going to hopefully have some really honest and open, candid conversations. And we've phrased our section on the 3 questions every CMO should be asking of their agency. And we've really kept this in the get implementing theme that we're talking about today. So we're going to talk a lot about the realities of how to do stuff, not just the theory of what we should be doing. And the reason why we think they're so important that CMOs are having those candid conversations is the fact is that retail media has changed every single facet of the advertising ecosystem. So if you look at all the way from kind of insight analysis to audience selection to touch point planning to activation, optimization and measurement, it has disrupted everything. And that means that the way that brands have learned to do marketing in the past has fundamentally changed. And this ever-changing, increasingly fragmented landscape, brands are looking for help and guidance of how to navigate and still to continue to win, to connect hearts and minds of consumers through that. So, without further ado, we're going to jump straight in. And people who know me like to know I keep things simple. So the first question is very simple, but it has a lot of hidden depths to it. And that question is then, how are you leveraging and utilizing retail media and data overall? Sounds basic, but there's a lot that you want to unpick within that. And do you want to give some perspective on that?
Yeah. And I think I want to start with a little bit trying to simplify things, and I want to share a message that I share with my brand team, marketing team, and with my agency partners at every instance. So sometimes on our side, on the brand and agency side, we are more inclined to think quite complex, quite focus on our silos, to retail media, to PR, to communication agencies, all the technical terminologies. But actually, what we are trying to do ultimately is to change the behavior of the consumer, and most of them are shoppers as well. We want them to pick up one more pack every day and choose our brand instead of the others. And the only way to be successful in that journey is to deliver the same message consistently and continuously across every touch point. So the consumer doesn't care which brand team works on a certain part of the brand message, or which agency is responsible for delivering what you see about your brand in the store or on TV or on radio. They only want to hear the same consistent message across different channels. The reason why I'm saying it, retail media is super important, and we generally give it the role of short term or the role of the conversion. But actually, it's a total journey. It's a total consumer engagement journey, in full funnel journey. And retail media has a very, very important role in it because it's the one that is closest to the real moment of truth, closest to delivering short-term business results. But actually, it also has the capability to generate long-term success for the brand. I'll give a small example. You know, our Jaffa campaign is one of the most successful campaigns we are doing in the last 2 years. And the message we have on our out of home is, we are a cake you biscuit. We use a shopper marketing creative, an aisle fin, which says, don't take the biscuit, grab the cake. Now, can we claim that this used in shopper media in the store is just doing the role of conversion? No, it's doing more than that. So in order to elevate the conversation in that sense, actually what we need to do is to ask our internal teams and our agency ecosystem to work together. And that needs our retail media agency to be a great business partner for us on the business side, and also a team player within the agency ecosystem. That's why what we prefer to do is to brief all our agencies about our challenges, about our business issues, about our campaign objectives, and what we need to change on the consumer side all together. And the success, I think, we deliver is also dependent on how we organize ourselves internally as well. We see the process same internally. I mean, our brilliant shopper marketing team, Michelle is leading, it's a fantastic Michelle, is sitting within our marketing function. And they're working hand in hand with our head of media and digital, Carly. So they do see it as a full journey. And this is how it is reflected into our agency partners and our shopper agency, a retail media agency takes it from there and delivers the total media plan. And sometimes this needs taking some courageous actions or decisions. I remember a few conversations where we're working with Capture to clarify, where Capture said, this is not a shopper marketing job to be done. Maybe we need to put more money on one of the other touch points. Or sometimes there might be a conversation like, we need to change the creative in the right word in the retail media because we need that type of an awareness issue that can be solved through retail media as well. So how we see it as part of the total funnel is, I think, critically important at this point. I think that close relationship also allowed us in the last few years to increase our efficiency significantly, around 25% saving we could be able to make, despite the CPM is increasing significantly.
I think you've touched on some brilliant points there, and I think the first one is truly understanding that retail media does so much more than conversion. It's really understanding as a CMO that the agency you're working in knows it's not just Amazon or PPC or other things, but just the breadth of choice. That may be that you're just using retail data, for example. It may be that you're doing a full off-site campaign, or you're using in-store, in the example of the Jaffa Cake, to drive greater brand awareness. It's understanding that the agency really understand that toolkit and are picking and mixing the right things that you need for your brand and your challenge. I love the fact that you actually said sometimes, and honestly, I'm the first person to say this as a brand builder, is maybe retail media is not the answer right now for that campaign and objective you've got, and that's okay too, right? All different touch points and different executions have a role to play. It's just knowing when to play them in the right time to do it too. So that's the first question, understanding that toolkit you've got, when are you going to use it, maybe you don't use it. The other thing, sorry, I loved was when you mentioned the premium CPM cost. Yeah. I think that's another important question to challenge, which is, let's be honest, retail media is often more expensive than going executing without it. So you really should be challenged as a CMO, your agency, on, for the premium cost of this, am I getting a premium ROI out of it? And constantly trying to showcase that and drive that as well, which we've done on Pladis, which is great. I'm going to move slightly more to a different world now, and that is the future. So the second question that we think every CMO should be asking is, how are you preparing for the further disruption of the consumer purchase journey? And for me, I think this is we're about, on the precipice of one of the biggest shifts, I think, to consumer behavior and ultimately how brands have to market to win with that consumer, to get them to buy that extra pack, so to say. And what we're very much looking at from a Capture perspective is the growth of agentic commerce and how that is going to impact that. So you can look at a myriad of industry reports. Accenture this year said that 75% of consumers are already trusting or are willing to trust a shopping AI assistant for them to make recommendations to products. We've now got to an age where Shopify is integrated into ChatGPT and you can buy directly. We're going to get to a place by 2030 where anything between 30 to 50% of purchases will be made by agents on behalf of consumers. That requires a completely different way of thinking how you drive awareness, how you get into that consideration set, and how you drive conversion. And I really believe that brands in the future are going to have a dual marketing strategy of how to win with humans, but simultaneously how to win with these agents as well. Aslı, you're thinking in that space too.
This year in Cannes, there was a presentation I think it was from BCG about the AI. That was an aha moment for me about AI. They gave an example. When the electricity invented, I don't know, hundreds years ago, some companies use it just to make the bulbs work, right? So that they can work for longer hours in the factories. And others found the electric engine, which kind of disrupted everything about electricity, right? So AI has two sides, and I don't think that anyone in the industry, in any industry, is 100% clear about the capability of it. We're still learning about it. On one side, how our agency uses AI to improve the efficiencies as a planning tool to reach the target audience in the best way possible from a reporting perspective, KPI perspective, etc. This is very much important, and we should be asking this from our agency partners so that we will shift the money more to the working side of the total media investment. But on the other side, as you suggested, how it will disrupt the shopper behavior, well, actually will shift the shopper from a real person to a machine. It sounds quite, a little bit frightening at the beginning. But actually, in a very short period of time, we have to use retail media both to impact the decisions of the people and also the machines. How do I prepare myself and my company for a world where the machines will make the choice about a biscuit because they know me, my family's preferences better than the others. But how can I influence that decision journey is a bigger question. And I think that needs two things. First of all, really spending time with all the agency networks to focus on the future as part of our strategy discussion. Today I'm solving this, but what am I doing for 5 years later? Yes, there are lots of unknowns. There will always be unknowns, but at least we can build a test and learn journey, not only from a curiosity, but also we will be able to understand what's working, what's not working, how can we prepare ourselves, and how can we change the budget allocation accordingly.
Absolutely. Test and learning now as the journey ahead gets built completely. And so the final question we've got, which you've touched on before about how you've been working slightly differently with your agency group in Pladis, is about really challenging your agencies and how are they broadening their thinking from just media KPIs to business impact. And what we mean here is how do you go from being, say, a media agency to truly a trusted business partner?
That's super important, as I mentioned at the beginning. I think when it comes to measurement, we're sometimes becoming too much technical as well. So I think measurement is, of course, important, but ultimately, again, what are the ultimate KPIs that I want to change for my business? Is it penetration? Is it frequency? And is my total communication plan doing the job? And how do I need to change the allocation of the budget accordingly to make it possible? It is very important to get into detail within the retail media plan and make sure that we allocate budget in the most effective possible, but also, apart from that, elevate ourselves to ask ourselves the question, are we really doing the best planning for the ultimate KPI objective? And I think holding all the agency group along with the brand people to account for those business KPIs is important, but also equally, we should make sure that our partners understand the problems of our business as much as we do. Because if you don't give the information and right information, it's not fair to ask them to deliver the solution for us or hold them account to the problems that we have. That's why continuous business reviews, I think, is quite important. I think marketing is a bit of art and science. If you are working with the right agency partners, if you have a strong team, you need to trust your gut feel, because that gut feel is not just insights coming from somewhere up in the air, but they are the accumulation of your expertise, your strong people's expertise over the years. I think you should be trusting your gut feel as well, as long as you work with the right partners.
Yeah, absolutely. And I can say from being on the agency side that it's so enabling and empowering when Aslı and Mete, who's the MD of Pladis, brings us together as a joint agency group. Egos are left at the door. It's about collaboration, not competition. And you share so openly the business challenges. And it's like, you're our partners in this, guys, and we need you to work together to deliver them. And that's not just about, kind of retail media challenges or certain campaign challenges. This is like fundamental business where to play, how to win strategy, and that has allowed us hopefully to deliver brilliant work and the business results to come with it too. So just to summarize then, 3 takeaways I would have, which is make sure you're having the honest conversations. It's really basic, right? But make sure that you're asking and challenging your agency as CMO, but to the point we just said, you're sharing honestly what you're facing as a business and how, not just within the area that agency is operating, but how they can understand the bigger picture that's happening at all. Really make sure that the agency understand the breadth and depth of choice that retail media has today and how they're leveraging it, or maybe choosing not to leverage it, which is okay too, not all the time, to win within their business context. And then lastly, make sure you're thinking about winning tomorrow. The world is going to change. I can tell you the conversation in RMS 2028 is going to be very different from this one now. So it's going to change drastically, and make sure you're challenging your agency on how are we learning now that we can win with consumers in the future. Thank you very much. Thank you, Aslı.